You ever heard of a little game called Action Bass on the PS1? Well, give me just a few minutes. I'll tell you why this game is the best game to exist ever. Period. Hands down. Best game ever made. Come on, let me show you. Okay, so this, the greatest game ever made, Action Bass, came out in the year 2000. And everyone knows old games are the best. So right away, it beats everything that came out after it. Now, if you go and look at the Metacritic score for Action Bass, it is a whopping 51 out of 100. Now, everyone knows what that means, right? That means a majority of people in the entire world like this game. 7 billion people love Action Bass. And that's a fact. You can go and look it up. Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty about Action Bass. Now, as you can see here, Action Bass has got a black label. There were no greatest hits copies of Action Bass. And everyone knows PS1 collectors don't want the greatest hits. They want this black label. So that makes Action Bass great already. You don't have any other choice but to get the black label. So collectors are gonna go nuts once they discover how awesome this game is. Now second, before we get into the actual gameplay of Action Bass, you can go on eBay, you can find a sealed copy of this game for like 20 bucks. No other game you can find sealed copies for that cheap. You can find Action Bass sealed for 20 bucks. Now obviously, you know, that makes it awesome. Okay, now let's get into the gameplay of Action Bass. Now, this game, you know, it had your fishing. You whoosh, whoosh, reel in the bass that you catch. Okay? It had some kick-ass action fishing gameplay, which no game before it ever had.
Fish on!
Catch as many fish as you can as quick as possible. You know, that's what makes it fun. Maybe have a couple beers while you're fishing, you know? This game allows you to do that. I mean, you gotta drink the beers yourself, you can't drink them in the game. But it's the same thing, and it's pretty awesome, I'll tell you that much. To go along with this action gameplay, you got a kick-ass soundtrack to, you know, encourage you while you're playing this game, to make you feel like you're awesome. Another thing about this, the ambient environment in this game is phenomenal, better than any game I've ever seen, past or present. You know, you can listen to the sound of bugs and water. And that's awesome. And another thing about this game's awesome action-oriented gameplay. You had two game modes. You had the challenge mode, and you had the free mode. The challenge mode is your regular, like, story mode type game. But the free mode is where it's at. You get to pick any stage, any lure that you've unlocked, and you get to fish to your heart's content. Now that's pretty awesome. And one final thing about Action Bass, you know, this game, when it came out, sold for $10. Now if you adjust that to this year's rates of money, you know, it's about 20 bucks. You can't find games as good as this for 20 bucks these days. This game was ahead of its time. It was cheap, easily accessible, great for everybody, great for all ages. It's rated E for everyone. That's awesome. Everybody can fish. Everybody can play action bass on the PS1. It's just simply awesome. They also advertise in here another game, Ball Breakers, also $10. This game's gotta be just as good, right? I mean, not as good as Action Bass, but pretty damn good. I mean, who doesn't want to play Ball Breakers? I, for one, love breaking balls. But I love fishing more. I love bass fishing more. Action bass fishing. And that's awesome. And you know, that's awesome.
A Factory Mouse Production.